These are proper naughty. Looking promising, it's looking promising, it's looking promising. What is going on, guys? Today we have an exciting video on my FG XR6 Turbo Nannu here behind me. Now Nannu does not need any sort of introduction to this channel, but if you are new here, Nannu is my 2012 Ford Falcon FG XR6 Turbo build. Now this thing makes 785 horsepower at the hubs and has a stock bottom end still and a stock transmission, which is a ZF6 transmission. Now this just has the basic barrel bolt-ons, has a 3584 turbo, full exhaust, full intercooler kit, injectors, head studs, valve springs, oil pump gears, all your standard barrel stuff, and recipe to make about 500 kilowatt. We have pushed the envelope a little bit more on this thing, so it's making a little bit more steam than what they usually do, and it's a little bit more risk taking. You can get holes in the side of the block or completely destroy the transmission. Now, fingers crossed, knock on wood, so far, I haven't had any of those issues at all. Maybe it's luck, maybe I'm catching a break for once, maybe it's just about to all go south. I don't know, and that's the exciting part about this thing. And it's good pushing the envelope a little bit and upsetting people on the internet, because it shouldn't do what it does and it shouldn't last like it has. But ultimately, that's just the gift of the gab with these things. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they are. I am going to be racing it, so I need to prep this car in this video for clayworld next week on October 6th, and it needs a few things. So previously this car did run a 10.8 at 134 mile an hour with a 1.899 60 foot, so a terrible 60 foot, and that was because the brakes were holding through the 60 foot. I have since sorted that issue, so we do not have that issue anymore, so it definitely should cut it down. I think we've the previous setup way before, when it made 450 wheel, I did like a 1.660 foot, very low 1.660 foot. So it has it in it. It's got more power now. It's got more go. Brakes aren't holding. And another thing is the thing does weigh almost 2 ton with me in it. So in this video, she's going to go on a little bit of a diet. Now, starting off, it's not going to look so grandpa spec, but I do have a box here to the left of me that I'm going to show you guys, and we're going to show you what's going on in today's video. And what the hell do we have here, guys? We got a fat 255 60 15 Pro Street radial tire. Now this thing, 15 inch on an FG, is a bit of a mission itself, but fortunately for you guys, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that in this video. So moving on, we have the front runner here. This is a 165 7017 Nankang SP90 Pro Street tire. Look guys, it's a $160 tire, but it's only going to go 400 meters, then stop me for 200 meters. That is it. I don't plan on running it on the street unless, you know, I just get G'd up and I love the drag pack look, but we'll worry about that at a later date. And we do have the 15-inch Boyd Coddingtons. They are 15 by 8 with a 5.5 inch backspace for the rear. Non-bead lock, because we do not need bead locks. We've got the front as well. They are a 17 by 4.5 with a 1.75 inch backspace. Now I'm going to quit yapping. I'm going to chuck these in the back of the ute and quickly run them down to Tubby's Tyre Power. Get them to mount the tyres to the rims for me. Then we'll come back, show you guys what they look like, and get them mounted on the FG. Stop it. These are proper naughty. Now, it's not only going to make Nannu look proper naughty, it is going to save a bunch of weight. Now, I don't know the exact weight of what the standard FG XR6 turbo wheels are, and with the previous BA XR8 wheels that I did have on the back with the slicks, but we know that these are going to be much lighter, and it is all about saving weight in this video and trying to hit that 9-second pass. So this is going to help, not just traction wise, looks wise as well, and to change things up, but to save kind of weight too. So I'm going to stop talking. Let's get the fronts on because they're the easiest, and then let's get to the rear and see exactly what we have to do to get them to work. Guys, holy heck, that looks absolutely gangster. Now, I'm quickly going to drop this down, make sure we're good clearance wise, because they're poking a little bit. I know wheels camber in when it gets lower and whatever, but just got to double triple check, make sure it should be fine. May have to make a slight adjustment, make it higher, but you know, this car isn't sacked anyway. It's pretty much a little bit lower than standard height. So let's drop it down, check that, and then we can move on to the rear. We are on, fellas. It looks absolutely gangster. Sits in the guard, perfect. Ride height wise, it's clean as, like, it actually looks like a proper car now. It's crazy to see this because, you know, it's been grandpa spec for so long. I've refused to put any sort of wheel or anything on it, and this is just the front on, guys. Have a go at that. That is hectic. I'm happy. Anyways, let's lift it up. Let's start with the rear. Now with the rear wheel off, I get to show you fellas with the FG and FGXs how to fit the 15-inch Boyd Coddington rears. Now this does not apply to every wheel. They are all different. They're manufactured differently. They all have lips inside them, offsets different, everything. So this is just for the Boyd specifically in the size that I stated in the video. But first things first, you do want to cut off this little tab here just at the top. Just make it flush in line with the top of the hub there. Then coming to the side, which do not recommend for a street car, you need to shave down this banjo bolt. So once I'm done racing this car, because it is not going back on the street until I race it, then after I'm going to replace it back with a factory Ford banjo bolt there, because you do have to shave it down a bit. But once you tackle those two out of the way, you will be able to sit the wheel on a fair amount, and you will notice that it will slightly rub on the edge of this lower control arm. Now, just use a flappy disc and just take away bit by bit by bit. 1.5 mil gap is fine on these. You don't want them too close, but you also don't need to go cutting excessively because the rim ain't going to hit. This is not a cornering car, it's a straight line car. I'm not trying to send this thing sideways with radials on it. It's just not going to happen. So trim that, and then you will notice on this arm here, you just may need to take out a little bit with a flappy disc there, just for clearance wise, and all that with a 6 mil spacer. Now, this makes it a bit better and kind of takes away cutting that more than you actually need to be quite honest. Once I do this side, we're going to drop it down. We're going to have a look. I'm not running too much negative camber as it is. It's actually pretty well closest to zero as you can get it on the factory, but we'll see once I whack it on what you need to do guard rolling wise. But as you can see on the FGs, they literally don't have much to roll at all. So we could be fine with a 255, 275, different story, but this is for a 255. Now, work health and safety, if you're watching this, we're on it. Let's get to cutting. So there we have it, fellas. She's all trimmed up, as you can see, flat there with the hub. Banjo has been trimmed down. Again, full disclosure, track use only. As soon as it goes back on the street, I'm replacing it with a factory banjo again. Not taking any responsibility for anybody cutting that, just showing you guys how to fit it for the track. Again, lower control arm trimmed a little bit there, and it has been rubbed slightly there on the front arm. So now I'm gonna fit the wheel up. We're gonna make sure it's all good. Repeat it on the other side, and then we can get to touching things up and spraying them so they don't rust. She's looking beefy, guys. Now we're just going to give it a final little check. As you can see there, we have clearance now. It doesn't look like heaps on this camera. It's hard to pick it up. Same for the banjo up there. There's definitely clearance there. The top, plenty of clearance. Not hitting there now that that is being cut down. We're fine here on the shock mount. And as we trimmed there, that is all good now. Now you don't have to take a lot out of that. And it's probably best you just go bit by bit, don't just go off what I'm saying, and you know, kind of hope for the best and guess and cut too much more than you need to. So that's it now. I'm going to fix it up, double check everything, then we're going to drop the car on the ground, have another peep under there and make sure nothing is hitting anywhere, because the suspension does obviously sit in different positions as it does travel up and down. So we're going to make sure clearance wise it is all good absolutely everywhere. If it is all good, then we are going to see if the guards need to be rolled, which I dare say they will need to be done a touch. Then we can lift it up, take the wheels off and touch everything up with paint. But let's put it on the ground, let's check it out, and let's see if we have to change anything. It's looking promising, it's looking promising, it's looking promising. that is full weight on the ground. And guys, we've got a little bit of a gap there and not much tyre is up. So I think I'll have to raise it, but what I'll have to do is put the car under load or get people to sit in the back and see if it rubs anywhere. So with the car on the ground, it's a bit hard to see on camera, but obviously we are a bit closer now. I do have to trim that bottom a little bit more. The top is fine, the banjo is fine, but looking from the front, which I can't get the camera under, it may look like we have to trim the bottom of the shock mount a little bit, and also that front little arm there that you can see at the back that I shaved. Shave that a little bit more, put it back down, double check, and make sure we're all good. So we're all trimmed up, it is all good to go. Now just quickly before I pull the spacer off and check to see how much you have to cut now that it is trimmed up to where I want it to, and there's just way too much cutting involved, guys. So a 6mm spacer is the go. No spacer you can do, but you're really going to ruin the structural integrity of the arms under there, and that's just not a safe thing, and you don't want to risk that. I'll show you guys around, show you what I've trimmed. We're going to paint it up, get it on the ground, and move forward. So the more trimming I did is pretty much the edge of that there, and I did trim down the bolt just to give us a little bit more clearance. I still going to clean up a little bit more before I hit it with a lick of paint, but that's good there. And I did actually end up taking a nick out of that. Like, it's not much at all, but you want about 10mm, maybe a little bit more clearance everywhere, just to be on the safe side of things. So that's all good now. I'm going to clean a few little things up, paint it, and we'll get it on the ground. Holy tunt, Nannu is looking absolutely aggressive on this drag pack. I did actually go ahead and end up raising the rear, just a touch, because there's nothing to roll on these FG guards. So raise it at the rear for safe measures, better than stuffing around with it at the track. But this is just the beginning of not so Nannu, guys, because there's a few more things that are going to get done in order to race this and make it look the part as well as function. Now, before we get into that, I have R2 from Pinnacle Auto Care coming, and he's going to get Nannu up to scratch, looking nice and clean for clayworld. And you know, maybe you could say a bit of a wax and whatnot could shave that 1/10 of a second off the car and put it into the nines. I don't know. Maybe it's a myth. Maybe we'll find out on Sunday. We'll see. So anyways, he's going to come past, and I'll show you the next few things that we will be doing to Nannu, because they are absolutely insane. And yeah, let me tell you now, it's gonna really look like a drag car. Alrighty guys, R2 has wrapped it up with Nannu here, and Nannu is looking absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, there's blue in the paint where you couldn't really see it before. It's looking absolutely immaculate. And huge shout out to R2 from Pinnacle Auto Care and the boys that came and helped out as well. I appreciate you all so much coming in on a Saturday and getting him looking right for tomorrow at Clayworld. So I'm going to lift the car up now, and I'm going to show you the next little order. It's in the background here behind me. You can just see what's going on there, but I'm going to show you what we are doing underneath, and then we're going to carry on with the final 3 things after. Actually, I was about to say 2. So let's lift it up and let's have a look. Weight saving, baby! So yeah, I did say not so Nannu, right? But anyways, pulled the exhaust off. That's about 27 kilos there worth of exhaust. If we want our best shot of a 9, we're going to put out the spare wheel as well, and everything that comes in the back as well as the sub. Now we are just left with the end of the dump here, but we do have a solution for that. But firstly, I'm going to show you something else that is not so Nannu, but is going on the car. Now you can probably see in the background here, Nannu does not have a headlight or a front bumper on it at the minute. And now, funny story, I actually hit up a company in order to get a headlight duct for the FG. Now, does this caliber of build need a headlight duct? No, it does not at all. I just wanted something that's going to give us our best chance of getting that 9 by keeping the intake temps down, which is mainly what it is going to do. It's just going to feed forced air into the air filter, and it's not going to pull timing or anything. So I actually hit up a company at 11 PM about a week ago, one night, asking if I could get a headlight duct without the headlight in it, because I do not like it, A, and B, I'm not going to run it on the street, so it doesn't really matter. Anyways, hit them up, went to sleep, woke up at 6 AM the next morning and had a inbox from John at Jap Essentials, and he asked me if I wanted a headlight duct made up for the FG and my VY Club Sport. Now, of course I said yes. He come past, took my headlights, 3D scanned them, made one up, we test fitted it, he was happy with it, took it back, prepped it, but on such short notice to get it ready for Clayworld with just in a few days, It didn't come up 110%, but we are still chucking it in. Once the event is done, we'll pull it out, sand it all down, probably get it looking absolutely A1 and pristine. Now, this is the headlight duct here, and it looks absolutely sexual. And like I said, not so Nannu, and yeah, it does need a little bit of prep work. You can still kind of see the lines, but this is actually ABS and carbon in it as well. Now, it's very sturdy, very strong. It's going to look good, but it's also going to help us with keeping those intake temps down. And now for the dumpy as well, Nick from Blakehurst Automotive has also made me up a little dump, so it doesn't sound like poo when it idles and revs and whatever when it hits the heat shield. So this is going to be straight at the ground. It's going to be a bit louder. It's going to sound nasty. It's going to sound rowdy. So we're going to chuck both of those on. We'll get Nannu on the ground, and I'll show you its final form of not so Nannu. Here he is, fellas, not so Nannu. We've got the Boyd Coddingtons on the front with the front skinnies. We've got the big GAMBIN.BUILDS store banners on the side doors. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to make them available so you guys can buy them and stick them on your car. I'm not too sure yet, but we'll see. If there's enough interest, we'll do that. We got the Boyd Coddingtons on the rear, 15x8s with the 255 Pro Street radial on there. Nannu looking good at the back. Obviously, no exhaust there, but we are ready to race with the no interior too, all stripped out, just the driver's seat, no back seat, no nothing, and of course the headlight duct to keep those intake temps nice and low. So that's it, guys. Not so Nannu is finally ready for clayworld and finally ready to attempt that 9-second pass we've all been waiting for. So the boys have just headed off to grab some dinner, and we are freaking hungry. We've been at it all day, previous days before, to get this car to where it is now, and it's finally there. So while I'm here, I'd like to give a shout out to all the boys who have jumped on board and helped me out. John from Jap Essentials for the headlight duct, Nick as always for touching up the tune, doing the dump and getting me the wheels and tires for this thing, my boss Pete for helping out, Josh Lever for doing enormous amount of stuff. I appreciate you, mate, and Kyle as well for helping out with towing the cars, because we are taking the FG and the VY Club Sport to Clayworld. We've got the trailers behind me. Once the boys are back, we're going to load them up and pack it up, get some sleep, because we do have to be up at about, well, I have to be up at about 4 AM tomorrow morning, and make sure we're at Clayworld nice and early to set up. So I'm going to leave the video here, guys. I appreciate you all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, put post notifications on so you do not miss out on the next episode, which is going to be racing this thing and seeing if we got that 9-second pass, and future episodes with that and the VY Club Sport and everything else that is coming this way on this channel. So as always, guys, we will catch you in the next one at Clayworld.